That was beautiful, LJ.
Yeah. Finna go off on this shit. Yeah. City of angels, that's where we from. Whole lot of hotels, whole lot of bonds. We don't give a f, but we do what we want. Throw up a star, throw up a gun. Just bought a mic, finna go stupid. Shout out my uncle, con little bullet. Lil 10 deleted moments WWE doesn't want fans to see. Growing up, I used to watch a lot of WWE. Undertaker, Kane, John Cena, Randy Orton, CM Punk, Stone Cold, The Rock. All these different superstars. But the one that got me into it the most, I personally would say The Undertaker. You know, he would show up, because this is when he was getting older. He wasn't at his oldest, but he was getting older. It was like 2009 through like 2014. That's when he would show up, but he wouldn't show up as much. 2011-ish, I decided to make this. And if you guys can see this right here, it kind of reminds you of The Undertaker. But those are my initials, Izzy IV. And I wanted to make a similar logo that reminded me of Undertaker. Hit me up if you guys want a belt like this. It's a grand 500 if you want it shipped. Yeah, let's get into it.
Wow, what the? Kozlov all tied up here. How intimidating.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. The WWE produces an ungodly amount of content on, honestly, a daily basis. Just television product alone, WWE has gotten all the way up to 7 hours total between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT on a weekly basis. When you're making that much product, you are destined to screw up a good few times. And while the company makes plenty of creative mistakes, sometimes the wrestlers themselves are going to slip up too. I'm D. Wicker from Watch WWE, and here's 10 moments that WWE doesn't want you to see. Trivia time! Who was the inaugural WWE SmackDown Women's Champion? Answer in the comments down below, and stay tuned throughout the video to hear the answer. Number 10. Orton busts his arm. Randall Keith Orton isn't just one of the most naturally gifted professional wrestlers of all time. He is also known for those infamous initials, RKO. It's one of the greatest finishers genuinely in all of wrestling history. Despite the easy comparisons to Diamond Dallas Page's Diamond Cutter, Orton's feels even more likely to come out of nowhere, one of the aspects that makes a move so damn great.
Look at Randy Orton slithering. Watch out,
That's old school Randy right there.
Despite this, Randy feels it necessary to give his opponents as much warning as possible before his first attempt at striking, literally slamming his arms to the mat multiple times in aggression?
I remember when he did that too.
I don't really know why, to be honest, but it does a very good job of hyping up the crowd. Unfortunately, it also does a good job leaving Orton at risk of self-injury, as repeatedly slamming your arm into anything will inevitably do some damage, and at Over the Limit 2010, Randy took it a bit too far by legit just watch him smash his arm into the mat repeatedly before legit injuring himself. You can see the moment when Orton's focus switches from edge to his now limply hanging arm, and after a few measly moves, the pair changed course and end the night on a double countout, which was obviously not the intended finish.
That
looked like it hurt.
The right arm may be compromised.
Number 9, the cameraman can't catch. People go back and forth between which WrestleMania match was the greatest of all time. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, or Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Throw an Austin versus Hart in there and you've got the most commonly accepted 3 GOATs in the pay-per-view's history. While Michaels-Taker's sequel match had the proper placement on the card and a more interesting story woven into it, many people believe the true king of pro wrestling to be their original WrestleMania clash in 2009. WrestleMania 25, and I'll give him this. It definitely has the most memorable moment. After Michaels misses a moonsault off the turnbuckle, the Phenom does the unthinkable and goes for a running leap over the top rope, a plancha very rarely seen from the near 7-footer, and instead of taking the move himself, Michaels pulls one of the cameramen in the way, former WWE star Deuce, and Deuce doesn't exactly catch The Undertaker.
Dude, I'm
Number 8,
surprised he didn't,
Angle nearly kills
die.
McMahon. No, not Vinnie Mac,
That was
although
probably the
Kurt and
worst thing
Vince
I've ever
apparently
seen.
did nearly bring the airplane down during the infamous plane ride from hell via wrestling around every 5 to 10 minutes, you know, in the middle of the sky. Instead, I'm talking about Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon, King of the Ring 2001. In this surprisingly great match between the King of Technical Wrestling and the King of Technically Wrestling, Angle had an obvious advantage throughout based on being Kurt Angle, but thanks to that street fight stipulation, Shane had his moments in the sun. Unfortunately for McMahon, the night's biggest moment wouldn't be in his favor, as Kurt Angle would suplex Vince's son through a plate of glass, except no he didn't, it was actually plexiglass, far more difficult to shatter, and Shane, instead of flying through the glass, bounced off it and dropped a few feet below directly on his head, nearly
10
murdering
stories or some shit like
McMahon.
that?
The King of the Ring set. Shane McMahon thrown with a suplex.
Number 7, Rock doesn't win the Rumble. After the atrocity that was Vince McMahon winning the 1999 Royal Rumble, the following year's Rumble had to have a happy ending, and it sort of did, unless you're the Big Show. The Rock would go on to win said 2000 Royal Rumble after last eliminating Mr. Paul White, but if you had a good enough camera shot, which Big Show just happened to have, you'd have known that Dwayne's feet both actually hit the floor before the Big Show.
Big Show was supposed to win?
That's right. The Big Show ended up getting totally cheated out of a big victory and getting into the main event of... Well, he was actually in the main event of that year's WrestleMania. But still, justice for Big Show. I will go out of my way from here on out to support anything that the Big Show does, and oh, never mind.
There I go.
There's a TV
There's a
show.
thing on the floor. Whoa!
That is the sign.
I told you.
Number 6, Austin's early eliminations. In the 1997 Royal Rumble, Steve Austin was eliminated from the Rumble early, but due to a few distracted referees, he would find his way back into the ring unnoticed and tossed out Bret Hart to win that year's event.
Yeah, so he cheated.
No! Wait a minute here.
That would be an instance of Austin being eliminated early on purpose. The year earlier at the 96 Rumble, Austin was fighting in the corner with Rikishi when, out of seemingly nowhere, the then ringmaster was thrown out of the match.
He was weird, man.
Austin was actually meant to play an integral role later in the finish with Shawn Michaels, but according to the Rattlesnake himself, the oil on Rikishi's body was just too much and he ended up slipping out. This would be an instance of Austin being eliminated on accident.
I believe the ultimate title goes back to his history. What happened to the ringmaster? Not certain. Must have been eliminated. We missed it.
Trivia time, and the answer to who the first WWE SmackDown Women's Champion was, drum roll please, Becky Lynch! It's Becky the Man. On with the video. Number 5, the McMahon's call for change. This might not be a mistake in the conventional setting, and it was definitely a creative mistake if you want to look at it that way. But from just a general television watching audience's perspective, this was an objective plate full of lies. Back in 2018, after a meandering year of boring storylines and non-worthwhile TV, the 4 mighty McMahons, Vince, Steph, Shane, and Triple H, that's Triple H, sorry, Mr. Game, those 4 made their way to the ring to basically bury the company, saying the product had gone stale for too long and that things were about to change. No more of this bullshit. It's time to give the fans what they want. They then called out Baron Corbin, blamed the bad ratings on him, took absolutely zero responsibility for their own creative failures, and led WWE into 2019, a year that was arguably even worse than the drizzling that was 2018.
Maybe we're wrong. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe you deserve a chance.
Number 4, Spike Dudley dies. Spike Dudley truly might be one of the greatest stuntmen in all of pro wrestling. Just like Mick Foley, Spike had to get creative when it came to getting himself over in the eyes of the audience due to his incredibly unique physique. And just like Mick Foley, Spike figured the best way to do that was by killing himself for paying customers on a weekly basis. Spike has seriously had some of the most destructive looking spots of all time done to him, and one of the most cringe-inducing came at the hands of La Resistance, of of all people, the French tag team got in a little scuffle with the smallest Dudley, and with a table position on the outside of the ring, were set to send Spike flying straight through. Instead, the two men failed to throw Dudley far enough, and Spike ended up bashing his head against the table with the rest of his body completely missing the mark and crumbling to the ground below. This one is difficult to watch. Number 3, Enzo concusses himself. This one's not difficult to watch. I know. Enzo is a great talker, and he deserves credit for just how good of a business mind he does seem to have. But he's also reportedly like a massive kid and might be a risk too. So, you know, there's that. Simon Gotch definitely can have a laugh at this one nowadays, as everyone and their grandma's dead dog has been recommended that video of him burying Enzo, a video where he also explains just what went down at Payback 2016 when Gotch goes to throw Enzo out of the ring, only for Enzo to fail a baseball slide under the bottom rope, instead smashing his head into the ropes and landing hard below, completely concussed.
Finals of this tournament now, one match away. Oh, man! Wow! Did you see the way that I'm
The head injuries are the worst.
Number 2, Vladimir Kozlov tries getting out of the ring. Kayfabe is dead, folks, and Vladimir here killed it. While the cat's been out of the bag on pro wrestling and its legitimacy for quite some time now, we all still like trying to suspend the disbelief and, sit down, be entertained for a little while. Moments like this, yeah, they kind of that up. During a match against, I think that's the Usos? Jesus, Jimmy's wife wasn't the only one to have a glow up. Vladimir charges down an Uso before getting tossed over the top rope. That's what should have happened, at least, and what would have happened had any competent wrestler been inside of that ring. Instead, Vladimir somehow managed to tuck his head and get it stuck underneath the top rope, and he spends way too many seconds trying to get himself over that rope. And listen, I feel bad for any children who still believed in wrestling watching this, because what does this even look like to them?
Kozlov all tied up here. How intimidating.
And number 1, Linda McMahon takes the stunner. The Stone Cold Stunner is arguably in the top 5 greatest finishers in all of pro wrestling. So good that when it hits against a specific person, you can actually see exactly what kind of sell they're going to have before it even happens. Just like Randy Orton's
The Rock had the best reaction.
The Rock's fish flopping after a stunner is an iconic part of wrestling history. Linda McMahon, on the other hand, she's not the best in the world. Linda has taken a single Stone Cold Stunner across her WWE tenure, and goddamn, there's a reason they only had her take one.
I forgot to say, thank you.
And those are 10 moments that WWE doesn't want you to see. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. After liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and notifications thing. That.
If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do what you gotta do. And yeah, lates.